Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. It's been 9 days, since we got embarrassed by Vanderbilt. It's also been 9 days, and Tim Banks is still the defensive coordinator at Tennessee. I look in the comment section. I see some of you guys talking, saying, Boogie, it is about time. I'm glad you're talking about it. I'm glad you're finally on board with firing Tim Banks. And honestly, I don't even know that I'm on board with firing Tim Banks, or I just think it's going to happen. I think it's inevitable. I think Josh Heupel is either going to make a change or he's going to be forced to make a change because Tim Banks moves on. I think the best time to quit a job is when you know you're about to get fired, and I think that may be where Tim Banks is at. We've all known that Tim Banks wants to take a head coaching job. We're going to get into that in just a second. I think Josh Heupel is also going to be forced to make some other decisions on expired contracts. A lot of you guys talking about strength and conditioning. Kurt Schmidt, his contract expires on January the 31st. On the offensive side of the ball, Joey Halsley, Darrell Sims, running backs coach, both of their contracts expire on January the 31st. And defensively, Coach G and William Inge both have contracts expiring on January the 31st. So I think we'll start to hear some news about that, or maybe see Josh Heupel make some decisions there. But let's get back and let's talk about Tim Banks, because I always ask you guys, hey, man, let's have a conversation. You guys know the deal. It's for the fans, by the fans. Let's have a conversation about Tim Banks. If you're ready to move on, if you're out on Tim Banks, what is it? Is it just as simple as the eye test? Is it the numbers? Is it because you see that we're 91st in the country in scoring defense, 28.75 points a game, the worst scoring defense that Tim Banks has had on Rocky Top since arriving here? And I get it, it's bad. The numbers speak for themselves. Or is it just, again, the eye test? Is it missed tackles? Is it the middle of the field being wide open? Is it the fact that third and Chavis, if you know, is now known as third and Banks? Is it missed assignments? I saw an interesting quote from Greg McElroy talking about Tim Banks, talking about this defense and missed assignments. Here's what he said. He says it's like you'll get 10 plays, but you'll have 10 different defenses, which can be hard as an opposing offense to try to figure out. He said, but it also means that I don't know if they're really great at any one thing. They're kind of solid at everything. And when you don't live in one specific look defensively, you're less comfortable executing a different scheme on every single play, which leads to mistakes, which leads to busted coverages, which leads to unaccounted for gaps. He goes on. That's where I think Tennessee has gotten this year. They are very much a defense as is kind of a jack of all trades. They can do everything, but they don't do any one thing really, really well. I'm talking specifically as it relates to blitzes and schemes. They have everything in their playbook, so any one given snap, you could see 25 different defenses, which is hard, but it also means that they're probably not very good in one specific defense. Again, that's a quote from Greg McElroy talking about how complex this Tim Banks defense is, and that's why when you guys ask me, are you out? Are you done? Are you finally on board, Boogie? Are you finally ready to fire Tim Banks? I don't know. Because I think Tim Banks can self-scout. I think Tim Banks can self-evaluate and make some decisions here and improve this defense. We saw it specifically with the offense, an offense that struggled the last couple of years, but now led the conference in scoring. Joey Aguilar, top of the conference in passing yards, 3 of the top 7 wide receivers in the conference. Deshaun Bishop, just a handful of yards away from being a 1,000-yard rusher. I think you can make improvements year in and year out. Got a lot of young talent on the defense. But again, I think that Tim Banks is gone, and I don't think that he's going to be fired. I don't think that's it. You know, we talk a lot about Josh Heupel and not really wanting to fire his assistants. He's never fired an assistant in his time at Tennessee, never fired an assistant in his time at Central Florida. But again, I think we are going to see Tim Banks look elsewhere, and it starts here. This is where the rumors started, was Tim Banks taking a defensive coordinator position for James Franklin at Virginia Tech. They have that relationship. They coach together at Penn State. But now we see the breaking news from Matt Zenit says James Franklin is targeting Brent Pry for his defensive coordinator job at Virginia Tech. Sources tell me Pry was Virginia Tech's head coach the last 4 years, now potentially returning to Virginia Tech under Franklin, whom he previously worked under at Penn State and Vanderbilt. So if that's the top guy, if that is going forward, then Tim Banks out of that coaching search at Virginia Tech. But now, just this morning, I woke up and his name has been mentioned in another coaching search. Is Tim Banks finally gone? We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. I need you guys to do the YouTube stuff. A lot of you guys watch these videos every day, and you never hit the thumbs up. Help me out, man. Just take 2 seconds, hit the thumbs up below the video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you're signed into YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed and click that thumbs up. It's quick, free, and easy. It helps the channel. Subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all that YouTube stuff. It plays the algorithm game. If you like what we do, I would appreciate it. You can also help the channel by hitting the join button. It's $1 a month. You help keep the lights on around here. Allow us to cover Tennessee football every single day of the year. So we would appreciate that support. But let's get into it. Again, Tim Banks being mentioned for another head coaching job. Let's go over to A to Z Sports. Shout out Zach Reagan. And why don't some of you guys don't like Zach? Zach's a good dude. Zach does a great job. Zach's got the article here. Tennessee Vols defensive coordinator Tim Banks named as a head coach candidate for open college football job. There's no guarantee that defensive coordinator Tim Banks will return for the Vols in 2026. And again, that's where I'm at right now. I'm to the place where it doesn't matter what I want. It doesn't matter what I feel. Tim Banks, I think, is likely gone after this season. Whether he is fired, whether he looks elsewhere, I think this is the end of the Tim Banks era at Tennessee. It says right here, unclear if Tim Banks will return as the defensive coordinator in 2026. The Vols are expected to have some coaching staff turnover this offseason. That goes back to the Chris Lowe article talked about a couple of days ago. Chris Lowe went on Josh and Swain and said, he expects to see coaching change on this staff before the 2026 season. He says Banks could be a candidate to be replaced after the Vols struggled in 2025, finishing the regular season as the 92nd scoring defense in the country. There's the article from Chris Lowe saying, I do think there will be changes. Tim Banks named as a head coach candidate for opening college football job. If Tennessee makes the defensive coordinator change this offseason, the expectation is that Banks will leave for another job instead of being fired. Again, that goes back to what I said earlier. Is this almost a scapegoat? Is this almost an out for Josh Heupel? Never fired a guy in now 5 seasons at Tennessee, 3 seasons at Central Florida. Hey, if my buddy can get a job elsewhere, I don't have to fire him. Good optics. Let's move forward. Says Banks isn't as in demand as a head coach candidate as he was a year ago due to the Vols' up and down defensive season. The Detroit native, however, was named as a candidate for Toledo's head coaching job. Here's the quote. It says the 53-year-old defensive coordinator has strong MAC ties, wrote the Toledo Blades' David Briggs. Banks, a Detroit native, played at Ball State and coached at Bowling Green in Central Michigan. Banks would be a strong regional fit at Toledo, and with Banks turning 54 next week, he may feel he's running out of time to land a head coaching gig, which would make this a tough job to turn down if he gets the offer. If the Vols head coach Josh Heupel is going to make any changes, they'll need to happen quickly. Getting those moves done before the transfer portal opens in early January would be extremely beneficial for Tennessee. So there's the news. Tim Banks being mentioned for that Toledo job. And I agree with what Zach says here. If you're going to make a move, you need to make it soon. And I honestly expected, and I've said this in multiple videos, signing day was last Wednesday. And I thought we would see some traction, see some movement on Thursday or Friday. But again, that's if Josh Heupel is taking the lead. That is if Josh Heupel is going to make a move and fire Tim Banks. But if he's going to sit back and patiently wait, then you got to let the process play out. You got to let Tim Banks go through the interview process, let him go through the hiring process. Does he end up at Toledo? But this is the second job that Tim Banks has been linked to. That tells me he is looking elsewhere. He is interested. Now, we've always known that Tim Banks wants to be a head coach, but the timing seems very convenient here. I think Tim Banks is gone. I think Tim Banks has coached his last game at the University of Tennessee. We'll continue to watch it, continue to monitor it. We'll fire up the hot boards if Tim Banks is gone. But again, timing is crucial. You need to make this happen sooner rather than later. The transfer portal window opens at the beginning of January, and it is a one-time only window. You're not going to have a second opportunity in the spring. If we're talking about making big moves, you're talking about going out and getting safeties, getting corners, stacking this defense. I think this offense in 2026 is going to be really good. If Joey comes back, a lot of people are going to be talking about this being the best offense heading into the 2026 season. But we've got some holes that we've got to fill on defense, defensive line, in the secondary. You need to have your coaching staff in place. We need to move quickly. What are your thoughts? Jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. You can go check out our merchandise, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link's in the description below. What's also there is a link to our Patreon. You want to be a part of our EA Sports College Football Patreon Dynasty. You want to be a part of our game day chat. That includes football, but also basketball, baseball. We're going to have game day chats all year long. Or if you just want to say, hey, Boogie, I love what you do, here's a buck to make sure that you can keep doing it. I appreciate the support. This channel does not survive without you. For the fans, by the fans, also fan funded. So I'm grateful for the support. But that is going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.